Joining us in just a few moments, Curtis Brown. Our discussion today, who are the top 5 running backs in BYU football history? Where does Curtis fit into that mix? And Curtis is joining us now. Curtis, welcome to your BYU Sports Nation debut. Where are you joining us from today?
I'm actually in Visalia, California right now.
Visalia, California, but still clearly you have perspective on BYU football and the running back discussion. We've been talking, Jeremy and I have laid out our top 5. You are both in our top 5. Where do you have yourself in the top 5 BYU football running backs?
That's a tough question. I think if you look at the running backs that have come through BYU, I think each individual brings their own unique style to the game. And I'm not one to tout myself, so as long as I'm considered part of the top 5, I'm happy with that.
Okay, top 5. You can say yourself. I mean, you're allowed to say that.
Is it so? Who's number 1 to you? Who's the greatest running back in BYU history?
The greatest running back in BYU history. I'll give that to Jamaal. I'll give that to Jamaal Willis. Actually,
Willis. Okay.
Yes, Willis. I think definitely, he held the record for a long time. I mean, to show that, when he came in, BYU had a typical passing strategy, and, ultimately, after he left, it was hard to emulate that. I mean, he had a lot of running backs come through and not be able to sustain the career he had, and, fortunately, I was given an opportunity 10 years down the road to come into that situation, and so. But I think definitely he set the bar extremely high, obviously.
Curtis, when you broke the record, what did Jamaal say to you?
He was just congratulations. I think a little bit inside there was a little bit of, man, I was hoping it wasn't going to get broken. But ultimately, when I broke the record, what went through my head was it's going to get broken pretty soon. I saw the potential in Harvey Unga. I knew that with the offensive strategy we had going forward, it was only a matter of time before we recruited the right running backs in to continue to beat up on that old record.
I put you at number 3, and Spencer put you at number 4. We had Luke Staley number 1, Harvey Unga number 2, and then we kind of differed from there. Luke and Harvey, what did they do to be, I guess, in some people's minds, including ours, some of the best running backs in BYU history?
When I think of Luke Staley, I just think of explosives. I think he's a game changer for sure. On any given play, no matter where the ball is at on the field, he was going to make something happen. And I think that's very important to always be a threat. You'll see in college and the NFL, depending on the time of the game, there's opportunities where your receivers need to step up, and you might not depend on the running game as much. But Luke Staley definitely made himself available at any point in the game, whether it was 30 seconds left in the game, whether it's just breakout play of the first quarter. Luke was always a threat. I think with Harvey, you just got consistency. The dude was just a beast. He ran over guys. He was emotional. I think his passion for the game alone got guys fired up. Definitely a dual threat, similar to Luke, catching the ball and running physically. But I ultimately think just Harvey was just a physical specimen. It didn't matter how many guys were in front of him, he's going to make at least 2 or 3 guys miss, and then he's going to run over a couple others, and that just emotionally gets guys going.
Curtis Brown, BYU running back from 2003 to 2006 on BYU Sports Nation, a 3-time All-Mountain West Conference performer, and one of the top 5 running backs in BYU football history. Curtis, let's talk about Jamaal Williams, the new Jamaal at BYU, and what he's done through 2 seasons. You kind of remind me of him in the fact that you guys both lower your head, and you're agile, you're quick, but you're physical runners. What do you feel are Jamaal Williams' strengths, and what does he need to do to take it to the next level to perhaps become the best BYU running back ever?
I'm still just trying to figure out what Jamaal Williams' weaknesses are. The dude is phenomenal. For a 17-year-old kid to come out and have the freshman year that he had, given the opportunities, and I mean, he's a soft-spoken kid, very quiet. Even seeing him during games, he wasn't one that was sitting there getting in the coach's ear saying, give me the ball, give me the ball. He took what was given to him and he made the most of it. And seeing him just progress throughout the years, it's been phenomenal to watch. I think, number one, he's not afraid of anything. I mean, I don't care how much he weighs. He runs like a 250-pound fullback. and then he has that explosive speed that is misleading because he spends so much time just running over guys that if need be, he can run away from you as well.
What kind of mentality does the running back at BYU have to be successful, Curtis?
Selfless. At the end of the day, you got to be selfless. BYU has a passing tradition. I think college football in general, you got to be solid in the passing game. And so there are going to be opportunities where, as a running back, you have the chance to run the ball and get your yards, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities where you have to pass protect and make sure your quarterback stays healthy. And, if you can be incorporated into the passing game, that's great. But long story short, you got to do whatever it takes to help the team win. And I found that, the players that I talked to that have came before me and came after me, they realize the importance of being selfless, not paying attention to the records. When you're working hard and you're doing everything right, the records take care of themselves.
Curtis Brown on BYU Sports Nation, currently the number 2 rusher in all-time rushing yards on the BYU list. When you're leading up to breaking a record like you were in your career, Curtis, how much of a distraction was that, or how much of a pressure was that on you to get to that number as you neared it?
To be honest with you, the pressure, it wasn't as big of a deal because at the time, this was the first time in my career at BYU that we had an opportunity to go undefeated in the Mountain West, going for a Mountain West Conference championship, and just wanting to end the season on a great note. And so my priority was, continuing that journey to go undefeated, and, to make it to the Las Vegas Bowl once again. Obviously your O-linemen give you crap about, how many carries you have left to get the record. And I remember Jake Kress specifically saying, hey, we're going to give you the first series against New Mexico. If you don't break it then you might as well just sit on the bench. And fortunately enough, I had the opportunity. O-line did a wonderful job of blocking and had the opportunity to break for a big run and break the record. But, no, it's definitely one of those things where you got to think about the big picture. And our goal is to go out there and win. And, fortunately enough, I was able to hit that record.
I remember the play against New Mexico. Was it like a 50-yarder or something?
I think it was like 47 yards, but who's counting?
Yeah, you think? You know the exact yardage, of course. At what point in that run did you realize, yep, this is it, I did it?
That was one of the thoughts going through my head I knew the play, I knew my number was obviously being called. I saw the safety come down thinking that he was going to pick up on, I think we had a fly sweep motion going, and so totally once I got through the second level, kind of chills go through you, but your goal is don't get caught from behind. I don't care if you're going for a record or you're going for anything. The last thing you want to do is get tackled from behind, and so that was my biggest focus is get in the end zone and don't get caught.
And then you go to the sideline, and I assume Jamaal Williams is over there?
Yes, he was. It was, and he made it real quick. He just said, congratulations, and we talked a little bit about it after in his office, but no, it was a great opportunity for me. I think my biggest thing was I wanted him to be happy passing it on to me, just like I was happy to pass it on to Harvey. Definitely you want people that hold records at BYU to be representations of the school.
Did you say something to Harvey when he broke your record?
No, because I've been telling Harvey since his freshman year he was going to break my record. It was only a matter of time. I was hoping he'd break it by a little bit more yardage. I didn't want it to be as close, but, things happen for a reason. And, hopefully Jamaal Williams, when he comes in and has a great year, that he can be that much closer to breaking it and hopefully just kill the record.
Curtis Brown, BYU running back, 3,221 rushing yards in his career, over 1,300 receiving yards as well. And that's where you probably have a beef, Curtis, because you're like, look, who else did more than me? Come on.
Total offense.
Yeah, I think I was more sad about Cody Hoffman getting that total offense, that all-purpose yards record this year. But
got it by 19 yards.
Yeah.
They threw to him that last drive.
At the end of the day, my time was well spent at BYU. A lot of times people ask me, do you miss it? And to be honest, I say no, because I left it all on the field. And everything that could have gone well for me at BYU, it did. I was able to, number one, find my wife and get a degree, and have success on the playing field. And those are opportunities that I will never take back, and those are my biggest memories. So I'm excited for what's taking place in my life, and I'm excited for it to be passed on to others.
Curtis, what was your most memorable run while you were in a BYU uniform? I know you just talked about the one to break the record. I remember a crazy run against Tulsa for a touchdown. What was your favorite run as a BYU Cougar?
I would definitely have to say that Tulsa run. I remember it being, 3rd and 5, and just doing that short option route and just thinking get a first down. But what got me so emotional after was just being able to watch it on film and seeing my receivers, seeing my players that didn't give up, that continued to block for me. I think I remember specifically, I want to say Matt Allen was blocking a receiver for me and kept on going. And so for me, that was the exciting part was, not only was it a phenomenal run, but there was also phenomenal support from my team to make that play happen.
I missed that play live. I was back in the day. We in the truck in the northeast corner of the stadium, northwest corner. I took a tape from the truck to Master Control so that it could be replayed that night on BYU TV. So I'm running back, literally running from my car back to the truck as the second half begins, and I hear this crazy roar. It's you running against Tulsa, breaking 84 tackles. So I missed that live. I jump into the truck, and they're like, "Oh, you just missed the best run ever." I was like, "What did I miss?" Oh, no. So I never actually saw that one.
No, but it was a nice emotional run. A lot of just fire and power behind that, but just ultimately, the experience overall was great. Anytime where you can have successful runs and you actually win a game, that's awesome.
I remember Jerem doing a story on you, Curtis Brown, and during that run, the video of that run, he played Bulls on Parade by Rage Against the Machine,
yeah.
which I think was an appropriate song choice for that.
Yeah, it was good.
Nice. I appreciate that.
Curtis, what does it say about the BYU running back situation, especially the last 10, 15 years, that certain guys are breaking records, and then those are getting broken within 3 to 5 years after that?
Well, to be honest with you, it doesn't say so much about necessarily, I wouldn't say BYU. I think it was Coach and I specifically. Coach and I came back to BYU. I remember sitting down in his office with him and Coach Mendenhall, and their conversation was, this is a high-powered offense. We score a lot of points. We get a lot of yards. It was we. There was no individual. Coach and I specifically told me, hey, I want you to be a part of this. And he talked to me about Texas Tech and the running backs that they had come through there and how they were incorporated into the passing game. I don't think anybody ever thought our running game would be as effective as it has been. But at the same time, you go with what works. You don't fight against the grain. If you have talented running backs in the backfield, you continue to give them the ball. And I think what that did was open us up to better recruiting. To look at the talent that we have in the backfield, it's great. And I think ultimately, Coach and I was the one that saw the vision. Obviously, Coach Mendenhall saw Coach and I, but it was Coach and I's offense. And obviously, when Coach and I left, we struggled a little bit trying to find our own identity. And now that he's back, I think that we realized what we were missing, and I think he'll continue to have success.
Curtis Brown with us on BYU Sports Nation. You bring up Coach and I. This is his second go-around, now year 2 of the Go Fast, Go Hard offense. What are the differences that you see having played under Coach and I in his first stint and now watching in his second stint of the offensive scheme?
I think biggest thing is just effort, just going out there and getting after it. That high-tempo offense requires 110% commitment, in the preseason and the off-season, because it's not like you just get on the field and you just go 100%. You have to train your body to physically withstand that amount of pressure, and to be able to go through that, you have to be well-conditioned. And I think for Coach and I, watching that team, it's a different team. It's a different attitude. There's a bigger sense of urgency, which I think there should always be. Why wait till the last 4 minutes of the game to get after it, to go no huddle, to be aggressive? Train your body to do that from the get-go, and you're going to definitely surprise teams. And I think that that's obvious. I mean, you've heard of other schools on the SEC, ACC talk about, well, these no-huddle offenses and make it challenging for our players to substitute. At the end of the day, that's strategy. If your teams are conditioned to go to a huddle every single play and take the full 35 seconds to run a player 25, whatever it is now with play clock, that's on you. But if you have a coaching staff that says, hey, we want to run a high-octane offense that just gets after it, teams better be conditioned for that.
Curtis Brown, one of the top 5 running backs in BYU history. And when you look at all-purpose yards, really the running back in BYU history. Great to catch up with you, Curtis. Congratulations on all of your success in life, and let's talk again soon.
All right, sounds good.